Okay, dear my friends, how are you? Yesterday I have left this class on the point I have to restart from there. And I think everything was okay yesterday. In the last I have left the class. But I have gotten from you the feedback and up to this point you people were clear. तो कल जहां हमने छोड़ा था वहां मैंने लास्ट में पता कर लिया था, वहां तक आपको क्लैरिटी थी। तो चलिए मैं पहले अब वहीं से आगे बढ़ता हूं एंड 1 and 2 इशू जिसमें बचा हुआ है उसको पहले फिनिश करते हैं, फिर आज हम एक नया टॉपिक। अच्छा अंकुर, स्टडी मटेरियल हैज बीन ट्रांसफर्ड टू देम। माय फ्रेंड्स, ऑन अमेरिकन एवोल्यूशन टुडे वी हैव सेंट यू द स्टडी मटेरियल एंड कैन आई होप मिस्टर अंकुर आस्क देम कि हैव दे डाउनलोडेड देयर स्टडी मटेरियल ऑन अमेरिकन एवोल्यूशन। प्लीज इन्फॉर्म मी माय फ्रेंड्स, प्लीज इन्फॉर्म मी, हैव यू downloaded the study material on American Revolution which have been supplied you today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just 1 minute, my students. I'm just coming to the point. Actually, we just left this topic up to this point, enlightenment and American evolution. This is the point here, Actually, in what way this enlightenment was going to help American evolution? In what way did enlightenment make a contribution to American evolution? Here I have to inform you, in fact, that for enlightened scholars, American society was an ideal society. Means that whenever European enlightened scholars were writing about this theory of enlightenment, so they were keeping in their mind an ideal model, and this ideal model was nothing else but this ideal model was the model of USA. So obviously you can say that when European enlightenment resurfaced, not USA, at that time USA didn't exist, American colonies, British American colonies. So that's why, my friends, whenever enlightened scholars have talked about the British American colonies, so obviously you can say the American people were much excited at the idea of enlightenment. And here, my friends, you have the information that at least there were 2 American scholars who visited Europe at that time. One was Patrick Henry and one was Benjamin Franklin, and the second was Jefferson, that is Thomas Jefferson. So Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, these were the 2 scholars who visited even Europe. So in this way you can say that enlightenment was definitely having its impact on American Revolution, which had to take place in 1776, resulting into the liberation of American colonies up to 1783. तो यहाँ पर मैंने आपको बताया कि चूंकि अमेरिकन एवोल्यूशन का तो इम्पैक्ट पड़ना ही पड़ना है, क्योंकि जो इनलाइटेंड स्कॉलर्स थे वो अपने मन में जिस आदर्श समाज की तस्वीर रखे हुए थे, आदर्श समाज कोई और नहीं, अमेरिकन समाज ही था। इसलिए अमेरिकन लोगों को इनलाइटेनमेंट के आइडियाज ने अट्रैक्ट किया, और 2 अमेरिकन स्कॉलर्स ऐसे थे जिन्होंने यूरोप को विजिट किया, जिसका नाम मैंने आपको बताया। सेकेंड वन क्वेश्चन इज द क्वेश्चन ऑफ फ्रेंच एवोल्यूशन, इनलाइटेनमेंट एंड फ्रेंच एवोल्यूशन, सो ऑब्वियसली यू कैन से कि what you know as the French evolution, and whenever I will teach you French evolution, I will make you clear that most of the scholars who could have given the ideological support to the French evolution, so they were the enlightened scholars. For example, you will cite you can cite the name of Voltaire, Montesquieu, Diderot, and Rousseau. These were the enlightened scholars, and they just worked behind preparing the ideological basis for दिस फ्रेंच एवोल्यूशन। मतलब जिसको आप फ्रांस की क्रांति में जिन विचारकों की भूमिका आप लोग आगे पढ़ोगे, वो विचारक कोई और नहीं है, वही विचारक वही इनलाइटेंड स्कॉलर्स हैं, वही प्रबुद्ध चिंतक हैं। तो इसलिए यह डेफिनेटली रोल प्ले करता है, जिसे हम कहते हैं फ्रेंच एवोल्यूशन। अब नाउ माय स्टूडेंट्स, इन द एंड ऑफ एवरी टॉपिक you have to cover the subtopic like interdisciplinary approach. This is not the part of our syllabus. But as in the first one class, I have made you the promise that actually through the prism of history, you have to observe the evolution of constitutionalism. You have to observe the, evolution of economy. You have to observe the, evolution of international relations. So that's why, my students, here you have to give focus over that. In what way Enlightenment gave a support to modern constitutionalism? Here I have just given to the information. यहाँ पर मैंने आपको information दिया है कि first of all, so far as the question of Enlightenment is concerned, so Enlightenment is a phenomenon of 18th century Europe, But what you know as the constitutionalism, so that gradually evolved in Britain even earlier than Enlightenment. Because in Britain you can say that there was the time, I have told you, that the rise of an absolutist monarchy or a powerful monarchy. So there was the rise of a powerful monarchy or absolutist monarchy. It was the all European phenomena at that time. From the relic of feudalism, there was the rise of a strong monarchy, But my friends, here the point is, in case of Britain took a different path leading to the evolution of parliamentary institutions. Gradually, the power of monarchy had to be checked by this emerging parliament. First of all, you find the example of the King John in 1215. Actually, what you know as parliament, it was not democratic at that time. There was the dominance of aristocratic class and to certain extent middle class, emerging middle class, you can say. Middle class was just emerging. So it was earlier in 1215, there was the dominance of aristocratic class. So a group of aristocrats just created pressure over King John in 1215 to accept their basic rights. So it was in this context, you can say, King John signed so-called British Magna Carta. You might have heard about British Magna Carta. If you have not heard about, so please pay attention to it. That is 1215 British Magna Carta, and British Magna Carta was supposed to be the genesis of the fundamental rights or the human rights in the world. Then gradually we'll come to realize that there was the different dynasty. In 1485 there was the foundation of Tudor dynasty. It was a powerful dynasty. Even the Tudor kings were the powerful kings, the ambitious kings, but Queen Elizabeth was the last one from this Tudor dynasty. But my students, here basically the kings of Tudor dynasty were the great manipulators. Actually, up to this period, there was a representative organization of the people, which was mainly represented by aristocratic class and to a certain extent the middle class. So that started to check the power of monarchy. But the Tudor rulers were, you can say, the Tudor rulers were the efficient enough. The Tudor rulers were the efficient enough to manipulate. Tudor rulers were the efficient enough to manipulate the things. They basically manipulated the things, Tudor rulers, So here you come to realize that they didn't collide with the parliament, The Tudor rulers didn't collide with the parliament, rather they relatively neglected the parliament. Okay? Or you can say ignored the parliament, or they manipulated the parliament. Whatever rules they could, whatever laws they could enact get enacted in parliament, they used to enact the laws of their choice through the support of their, you can say, through placing their supporters in the parliament. मतलब वो क्या करते थे कि पार्लियामेंट को मैनिपुलेट करने लगे, जो ट्यूडर रूलर्स थे, ट्यूडर डायनेस्टी के. वो बेसिकली पार्लियामेंट से टकराते नहीं थे. उनको लगता था ये पार्लियामेंट से टकराना तो मुक्ता है, क्योंकि हम तो पार्लियामेंट फिर हमें अपोज कर देगा. तो उनकी कोशिश ये होती थी कि हम पार्लियामेंट से टकराए नहीं, हम अपने कुछ जो सपोर्टर्स हैं उनको पार्लियामेंट में एस्टेब्लिश कर दे. विद द सपोर्ट ऑफ दिस, यू कैन से सम प्रो ट्यूडर एलिमेंट्स इन पार्लियामेंट, वी हैव टू गेट द लॉ ऑफ आवर चॉइस टू बी इनेक्टेड बाय द पार्लियामेंट. इस तरह से वो पार्लियामेंट को मैनिपुलेट करते रहे. उनके सामने प्रॉब्लम नहीं आया. बट इन 1603 एलिजाबेथ डाइड एंड देन शी चोज हर ग्रैंड सन, that was maternal grandson, you can say. Maternal grandson means कि not पौत्र but नात्र, मतलब maternal grandson she selected, and that was James the First. He came from Scotland and he came to grace the he just came to grace the institution of monarchy. But my students, this with the coronation of this James I, there started a new dynasty. The name of this dynasty was what? It was Stuart dynasty. The name was the Stuart dynasty. And James I, then Charles I, then Charles II, then James II. So it was the time, this period is marked by the conflict between the monarchy and the parliament. Monarchy tried to assert his power, and parliament was inclined to assert its power. So there was a direct collision between the parliament and the monarchy. And my students, here I have to inform you that this conflict became so intense, so severe, that finally it resulted into a civil war in Britain between the parliament party and the monarchy party. And in this war, the monarchy was defeated by the parliament party under a military general. His name was Oliver Cromwell. So the whole of the war, Europe was stunned, because this ruler Charles I, he was arrested after this defeat, and then he was publicly beheaded. Beheaded means he was assassinated. But once again there was the restoration of monarchy in Britain, and his successor Charles II occupied the throne. But after that, up to the period of the James II, his successor, once again the conflict emerged, and you might have heard the name of a revolution, that is Glorious Revolution. So Glorious Revolution got a Pun Kranti, that is called. It occurred, and in this revolution, you know, James II just fled away from London while leaving his throne vacant, and it was occupied by a new king who was the nominee of the parliament. So it symbolized the victory of parliament on monarchy. मतलब देखिए, सम टोटल मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं कि ब्रिटेन में पहले पावरफुल मोनार्क आया, ट्यूडर डायनेस्टी के किंग. तो ट्यूडर डायनेस्टी के किंग बड़े चालाक निकले. वो पार्लियामेंट से, जो पार्लियामेंट था ब्रिटेन का, उसे टकराते नहीं थे. वो अपने समर्थकों को पार्लियामेंट में बैठा देते थे और फिर अपने तरीके से कानून को पारित करवा लेते थे, मन एक्सेप्ट करवा लेते थे. लेकिन जब एलिजाबेथ इस ट्यूडर डायनेस्टी की अंतिम इंप्रेस थी और अंतिम किंग थी, माने क्वीन थी, और उसके बाद उसने अपने नाती को, जिसको मैटरनल ग्रैंडसन कहते हैं, उसने गद्दी पर बैठा दिया. अब वो गद्दी पर बैठा, उसका नाम था जेम्स फर्स्ट. उसका डायनेस्टी था स्टुअर्ट. जैसे वो तो ट्यूडर था और ये डायनेस्टी का नाम था स्टुअर्ट, STUART, स्टुअर्ट डायनेस्टी. यही जो जेम्स फर्स्ट था, अब इसमें मैं ज्यादा नहीं जाना चाहूंगा. यहां पर आकर पार्लियामेंट और मोनार्की के बीच बिल्कुल ही पावर क्लैश या पावर स्ट्रगल शुरू हो गया. और पावर स्ट्रगल शुरू होने का कारण था 2-3 मुद्दे थे. फर्स्ट मुद्दा था टैक्सेशन, कि हु वाज हैविंग द राइट टू टैक्स. तो मोनार्क बोलता था कि वी आर हैविंग द राइट टू टैक्स, माने आई एम हैविंग द राइट टू टैक्स बिकॉज आई एम द मोनार्क ऑफ ब्रिटेन. और पार्लियामेंट बोलते थे कि नो, as the members of parliament are the people's representative, so only people's representative is having a right to tax the people. तो मैं स्टूडेंट्स, इन अमेरिकन रेवोल्यूशन मैं एक स्लोगन आपको याद दिलाऊंगा. यू हैव टू बी मेंटली अलर्ट. ये स्लोगन यहीं से चलेगा. नो टैक्सेशन विदाउट रिप्रेजेंटेशन. नो टैक्सेशन विदाउट रिप्रेजेंटेशन. दिस बिकेम अ वेरी you can say popular slogan in course of American War of Independence or American Revolution, and this was invented originally by the British people themselves. कि पार्लियामेंट ने यही बात पहले ब्रिटिश मोनार्क को कहा कि पीपुल्स रिप्रेजेंटेटिव होने के नाते हम चूंकि पीपुल को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं और पीपुल्स को ही राइट है टैक्स लगाने का, जिन पर आप टैक्स लगाओगे उनकी रजामंदी लेनी, उनका अप्रूवल लेना आवश्यक है. तो वी आर हैविंग द राइट टू टैक्स द पीपल एंड टू इंपोज द टैक्स. एक ये मुद्दा था. दूसरा मुद्दा था फॉरेन पॉलिसी. हु वाज द फाइनल आर्बिटर इन द मैटर ऑफ फॉरेन पॉलिसी. तो किंग वाज मेकिंग द क्लेम कि आई एम द फाइनल आर्बिटर. पार्लियामेंट वाज मेकिंग द क्लेम कि नो, वी आर द फाइनल आर्बिटर इन द मैटर ऑफ फॉरेन पॉलिसी. थर्ड वन वाज रिलीजियन. Actually, Parliament was Protestant, and King, this Stuart kings, they were Roman Catholic, and they tried to impose the Roman Catholic. They tried to encourage the Roman Catholic sect in Britain. So it was intolerable for the British Parliament. तो अंत में क्या हुआ कि इसी मुद्दे पर आप एक रेवोल्यूशन के बारे में सुनोगे, and you will hear about the revolution, and this is glorious revolution you might have heard about. अब ये जो glorious revolution है वो क्या है? 1688 में occurred in 1688, and in which you can say the Parliament Parliament nominated a new king, and the last king from Tudor dynasty, James II, fled away while leaving the throne, while throwing out the royal seal of London into Thames River. So in this way you can say now it established the supremacy of Parliament on the British monarchy. So it happened before Enlightenment itself, but Enlightenment in one sense gave support to constitutionalism. In what way? It gave support to constitutionalism in the way that the Enlightenment supported American Revolution, and American Constitution was the byproduct of it. Encouraged constitutionalism in USA. Why? Here you can cite the name of Montesquieu. What is the specific theory of Montesquieu? Separation of power. There should be the separation among executive, legislative and the judicial power. And this concept of separation of power propounded by Montesquieu influenced American constitution makers. So that's why you find this theory of separation of power was introduced in American Constitution. So this point is okay. Now my students, this is the constitutionalism. But apart from constitutionalism, there was the progress of changes in economic policy as well. But my students, whatever has been mentioned here, so I have already discussed this aspect with you previously, because here I have just mentioned about the theory of Adam Smith, and I have told you what is the theory of Adam Smith. Adam Smith, he emphasized the theory of free trade, you know. So Adam Smith believes that the market is having its own internal laws. There should not be intervention into the internal matter of the market. Are we recalling this case? No, there should not be any sort of intervention into the internal matter of the market. Market is guided by the principle of demand and supply. There I have already discussed this aspect with you. You may recall. Actually, this is producer. Are you recalling? Just observe. Producer, workers, producers, workers, and consumers. There was natural balance in the interest of all the three. If producers had to make more demand of the price, and the producers would fix the price at exorbitant rate, then consumers would not purchase it. On the other hand, if consumers would not be ready, consumers will not be ready to give the, you can say, the minimum, or you can say a substantial amount to the product, then producers would not prefer to do the production, because the producers would not carry the production in deficit, you know. So producers would not carry the production if the consumers are not ready to give a certain amount for a product. So there is interest of the producers and that of the consumers. So both are going to balance each other. The same happens in case of workers. If the producers would not give the due wages to workers, workers would refuse to work. But if the workers will make an undue demand for the wages, then producers would not employ them. So there would be a natural balance in the interest of the workers and that of producers. So in this way, the market is being run through mutual, you can say mutual balance of the interest, and you can say through the mutual compatibility of the interest. So in this way, this is called equilibrium. Santulan, equilibrium. He preferred the term equilibrium. Santulan, market is working on Santulan or equilibrium. So this was the theory of Adam Smith. And furthermore, Adam Smith, later Adam Smith was followed by other economists like David Ricardo. David Ricardo was, so they were known as the father of classical economics. Classical economics, you can say. So there was the rise of classical economics. And in this classical economics, you will come to know that actually this classical economics was the believes in supply led growth. देखो दो तरह का ग्रोथ होता है, एक supply led growth, दूसरा demand led growth. This classical economics believed in supply led growth. Supply led, what is the supply led growth? According to this supply led growth, you have to do the production. Production will create its own demand. Why? If you will do the production, you will employ the workers. If you will employ the workers, you will give them the wages. So the workers will work at the market, they will work at the demand. So supply will match the demand and the market will be carried on. मतलब कितना भोलेपन से इसने कहा कि आप ऐसा करिए, आप प्रोडक्शन करिए, प्रोडक्शन अपना डिमांड की व्यवस्था स्वयं करेगा, क्योंकि आप प्रोडक्शन करोगे तो वर्कर्स को आप एम्प्लॉय करोगे, वर्कर्स को एम्प्लॉय करोगे तो आप उसको सैलरी दोगे, वेजेस दोगे, और उस वेजेस से उसको परचेजिंग पावर आएगा, वो आपके प्रोडक्ट को खरीदेगा, तो बैलेंस होगा. लेकिन ये आगे की चीजों ने इसको सिद्ध कर दिया कि this theory was going to be corrupted in future, and this theory was not an innocent theory. It was having its own loopholes, which we have to discuss with you later. तो ये है उसका इकोनॉमिक्स का थियरी. अब मिस्टर अंकुर आस्क माय स्टूडेंट्स, दिस ये टॉपिक ओवर हो गया, तो प्लीज यू पीपल हैव टू इन्फॉर्म मी. आर यू ओके? Have you been clear? My students, please give me the information, because let us make this class communicative, and I will always try to enlist your reaction, whether you are okay or not. Please inform me. I am just waiting for your response.
Maximum yes बोल रहे हैं.
ओके, अब मान लो इसको नो है तो पूछो तो सही. व्हाट डिफिकल्ट यू फाइंड? एवरीथिंग इज क्रिस्टल क्लियर. मैंने कहा कि आप प्रोडक्शन करिए, प्रोडक्शन करेंगे तो लेबर को एम्प्लॉय करेंगे, लेबर को एम्प्लॉय करेंगे तो वही लेबर आपके मार्केट का काम करेगा, क्योंकि उसके पास पैसा होगा, परचेजिंग पावर होगा. ये तो इकोनॉमिक्स का बेसिक रूल है, इसमें आपको कहाँ दिक्कत होगी?
सर मनप्रीत पूछ रही है सर अबाउट द विल्स ऑफ रूसो टू अंडरस्टैंड आइडियोलॉजी.
Manpreet, your question is not clear. Once again, Ankur, repeat the question.
About the wills of Rousseau to understand ideology.
Wills of Rousseau? About wills of Rousseau? Manpreet, I am sorry. Please repeat your question with some clarity. Could I go further, Mr. Ankur?
The thing question is Britain witnessed peaceful transfer of power for only reason of having monarchy today?
Yes, Jatin, you are correct. Britain, you find there was a gradual evolution of constitution. You will observe the British constitution. The British constitution manifested different phases. The first phase was the phase of feudalism, or the phase of aristocracy or feudalism. Then comes the phase of monarchy. Then comes the phase of democracy. So, British constitution manifested different phases, and it neither broke down and nor did it make any radical change, but rather you can say that Britain or British constitution evolved gradually and moderately. So this is the specialty of British constitution. Jatin.
Sir, how was the glorious revolution bloodless if Charles I was beheaded?
No, Charles, Shekhar, actually here I have make this story a bit precise. So let me brief. Actually, at the time of Charles the First, this glorious revolution didn't take place. Actually, what happened? James I was the first ruler. I didn't believe in making the things detailed, briefing the things detailed. So that's why I have become a bit precise. That's why Jatin Sekhar. So that's why you got some confusion. First ruler from this Tudor dynasty was James I, who ruled between 1603 to 1625. So during his tenure, differences cropped up, but it was manageable. Then comes his successor Charles I. So he was a bit more aggressive, you know. So there the parliament and the monarchy picked up the quarrel with each other, and finally it led to a civil war and beheading of Charles I. So it happened in 1660. Charles I lost so Charles I ruled between 1625 to not 1660, I am sorry, 1625 to 1646. In 46 he lost the battle, then he was killed, and then there was, you know, declaration of a republic for time being, for intervening period between 1649. In 1649 he beheaded. So between 1649 to 1660 there was the era of republic. Monarchy didn't exist in Britain. In 1660, once again, because the British people were a bit conservative, so they never liked the republic, and they just once again aspired for the old monarchy. So the successor of Charles I, Charles II, he was just living a life of exile, मतलब वो निर्वासित जीवन जी रहा था, living a life of exile in France. So he was called from France and he was restored on the throne in the name of Charles II. In this way, it was called the Restoration Age, because restoration of monarchy in 1660. So Charles II ruled between 1660 to 1685. In 1685, he was succeeded by a new king, James II. Or during the time of James II, once again, the very tough rivalry started between parliament and the monarchy, leading up to glorious revolution in 1668. So, Sekhar, there was a time lag between the beheading of Charles I and the glorious revolution. So, both the events should not be confused with each other.
Sir,
Okay.
Also, those questions, sir, how parliament gained power and how monarch led them to acquire power in Britain.
Gradually, you can say. Gradually, Asutosh, gradually in this way, actually there was a conflict between parliament and monarchy for gaining the power. So, to the extent monarchy was losing the power. In glorious revolution, you can say it is a very natural thing that the monarch became a parliament's nominee, because after James II he fled from London for the fear of parliament. Then a new king, William of Orange, he was placed on the throne. So he was not independent, he was parliament's nominee. So here parliament got the upper hand on monarchy, and gradually, अब suppose you can say there started Hanover dynasty. The king of Hanover dynasty, that was name of the king was Hanover dynasty was George I, George II. So both George I and George II, so they were the German spoken people. They came from Germany, and they were having the two serious weakness. They didn't know English, and they were basically homesick. So they preferred to stay in Germany for a longer time, not in London, at London. So making benefit from the situation, parliament gained power. So in this way, parliament was gradually gaining the power. Asutosh.
Manpreet sir, what is general and particular will according to Rousseau?
General will was the common will. Common will means ki that is the average will of the common average will of the whole community. That is general will. And particular will, it's your will. That is your lower will, your selfish will, selfish instinct, which you are having a selfish instinct. You are having a higher self, means ki the noble will. So noble will, the total collection of the noble will of the community, that is general will, and your selfish instinct is your particular will. मैंने वो मानता है कि भाई आपका जो आप सभी के अंदर दो प्रकार का विल होता है, एक अच्छा विल होता है, एक बुरा विल होता है. तो जो अच्छे विल का कलेक्टिव या जो कलेक्शन है वो जनरल विल है, और जो आपका सेल्फिश इंटरेस्ट है, जो लोअर विल है, वो आपका पर्टिकुलर है.
Other thing पूछ रहे हैं सर, why did Napoleon say that If there were no Rousseau, no revolution would take place.
Who?
Bhagat Singh.
Bhagat Singh. Yes, Bhagat Singh. Arey, what a striking name Bhagat Singh. Actually, because Napoleon, whenever I will teach you Napoleon, then I will make you clear. So please don't ask this question at this stage. It is difficult for me to make you understand this question at this particular stage. Napoleon was basically believes in balance. He was not a radical thinker. He was not radical. He rather, you can say, tried to make a balance in France. So Napoleon came to believe that Rousseau was a radical thinker. It was Rousseau's radicalism which resulted into revolution. तो मतलब उसका ये मानना था नेपोलियन का कि अगर मैंने तो रूसो के बारे में आपको बताया है कि बाकी थिंकर्स थे वो इनलाइटेड मोनार्की चाहते थे. नेपोलियन हिमसेल्फ प्रेफर्ड इनलाइटेड मोनार्की, माने लिमिटेड मोनार्की, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मोनार्की यू कैन से. बट रूसो बिलीव्स इन कंप्लीट डेमोक्रेसी. रूसो बिलीव्स इन रोमांटिसिज्म एंड रोमांटिसिज्म वाज आस्किंग फॉर अ मेजर चेंज. रूसो बिलीव्स इन the power of the nation. So in this way you can say Rousseau was a great game changer in Europe at that time, according to Napoleon's estimation.
कुछ बच्चे सर ब्रिटिश मैग्ना कार्टा.
ब्रिटिश मैग्ना कार्टा का मतलब राइट है. देखो एक्चुअली हुआ ऐसा कि ब्रिटेन का किंग जॉन है. तो जॉन एक किंग है, पावरफुल है, सब कुछ है, लेकिन कुछ एरिस्टोक्रेट्स ने उसको घेर लिया और कहा कि देखिए हम वैसे नहीं मानेंगे, आप हमारे कुछ बेसिक राइट्स पर साइन करके दीजिए और एक्सेप्ट करिए कि हमारे भी बेसिक राइट्स हैं. तो वहां किंग को नॉर्मली नहीं झुकना चाहिए, लेकिन उस पर इतना प्रेशर पड़ा कि वो झुक गया और अंत में उनके राइट्स को उसने मंजूरी दे दी. तो पहली बार, हालांकि एरिस्टोक्रेट्स के राइट्स थे, लेकिन पहली बार कोई मोनार्क ने अपने पब्लिक के राइट को एक्सेप्ट किया था. तो उसको माना गया कि दुनिया में फंडामेंटल राइट्स का ओरिजिन यहीं से हुआ है. And then British Magna Carta started to symbolize the fundamental rights, the origin of fundamental rights in world. तो ये है कॉन्सेप्ट ब्रिटिश मैग्ना कार्टा का.
राहुल पूछ रहे सर, but the privilege which are implemented in the American Constitution, mainly the role.
Rahul, your question is not clear, please.
Bhavna, can you, what was the role of king in monarch democracy system of Britain?
King was actually king. Earlier the king was all powerful in Britain, Bhavna, but gradually the king started to lose the power and parliament to gain power. देखो भावना, मुख्य चीज ये है कि आपको पार्लियामेंट्रियन सिस्टम की समझ होगी. तो पार्लियामेंट का मतलब होता है पीपुल्स रिप्रेजेंटेटिव एंड मोनार्की का मतलब होता है, अगर कोई ऑटोक्रेटिक मोनार्क है तो वहां पीपुल्स रिप्रेजेंटेटिव को क्रॉस करेगा. लेकिन जब पीपुल्स रिप्रेजेंटेटिव पावरफुल हो जाएगा, तो अगर वह इंस्टीट्यूशन पावरफुल हो जाएगा तो जो मोनार्की उसका पावर खुद काउंटर बैलेंस्ड हो जाएगा. वही ब्रिटेन में हो रहा है ग्रेजुअली. सो द सेम केस इज देयर. अब नाउ food for thought, it is for you. I have nothing to do with the food for thought. Have they asked about that? फूड फॉर थॉट का मतलब समझिए आप लोग. दिस इज फूड फॉर योर थॉट. अब नाउ यू हैव कवर्ड द टॉपिक. यू पीपल हैव टू थिंक एट योर होम, in the lonely place. You have to make in the manner of meditation. You have to think over this topic. You are not supposed. This is not in the form of the question. This is the thought. For your thought, this is the food. Means कि you have to be a thinking creature. My motto is to be a thinking creature. So I have given you जब बचपन में होते हैं बच्चे, तो कई बार बच्चों को ऐसे टॉयज दिए जाते हैं कि बच्चे उस टॉयज के सहारे चलना सीख लें. तो हम जब फूड फॉर थॉट देते हैं तो हमारा मकसद, इसके पीछे ऑब्जेक्टिव ये होता है कि इसी फूड फॉर थॉट के सहारे धीरे धीरे आप अपनी तैयारी को इंफॉर्मेशन से ओपिनियन की तरफ ले जाइए. अब हाउ फार आई विल गेट सक्सेस, सो बिकॉज आई हैव टॉट यू मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री, Now I have started to teach you world history part, you know. But how far I have been successful, so that will be decided by your performance. How you people are just thinking whether you have started to move in the direction of opinion from information or not. So my success depends over that. तो ये जो फूड फॉर थॉट है वही सोचने के लिए मैंने दिया है.
लास्ट वाले क्वेश्चन.
लास्ट वन, हाउ इज इनलाइटनमेंट सपोज टू बी सेमिनल टू. सेमिनल का मतलब है इंस्ट्रूमेंटल, उसके पीछे. सेमिनल टू मॉडर्निज्म इन यूरोप. And how is postmodernism redefined modernism established by European Enlightenment? अब who has asked this question? Please give me the name.
अमन और तमन्ना.
अमन और तमन्ना, तुम दोनों सुन लीजिए आप लोग. मैंने यह चीज आपको जब इनलाइटनमेंट में मॉडर्निज्म और पोस्ट मॉडर्निज्म ऑलरेडी पढ़ाया हुआ है और अच्छे ढंग से समझाया हुआ है कि मॉडर्निज्म बिलीव्स इन द थियरी ऑफ इनलाइटनमेंट and modernism was based on the two important premises. One was reasoning and second one was scientific method. So enlightenment believes that through the method of reasoning and scientific method one can reach up to the point of perfection. Even human civilization would meet its point of perfection through using these two premises. But my friends, in 250 years previously, so many racial conflicts started. The lethal weapons like nuclear weapons, hydrogen weapons, so they came into existence, and above all there was the devastation of this environment and ecology. So whole of the human civilization has been put to hostage, and there was you can see scenario of a total destruction. So then you know that some scholars felt cheated, कि enlightenment or modernism have cheated us. They have given us the promise for a bright future, but it didn't happen. And enlightenment particularly tried to establish that कि in fact through the method of science, through scientific method and through the method of reasoning, you will reach up to the truth, the final truth. But postmodernism tried to establish that कि neither there is final truth nor any final route leading to the truth. मतलब उसने कहा कि देखिए, आपने हमको धोखा दिया, आपने हमें ठग लिया. ना तो कोई अपने आप में अंतिम सत्य है और ना ही अंतिम सत्य तक पहुंचने का कोई एकमात्र मार्ग, एकमात्र रास्ता. ये तो मैंने इतने अच्छे ढंग से तमन्ना और कौन दूसरा, अमन और तमन्ना, तुम लोगों को मैंने कितना बढ़िया से समझाया हुआ था. फिर ये क्यों अध कचरा रह गया. और मेरे मैटर भी तो मैंने छोड़ा हुआ है. आप जाके मेरे मैटर को दोबारा पढ़ो. एटलीस्ट यू पीपल आर सपोज टू रीड माई मैटर ट्वाइस. पहले अपने से थोड़ा सा यू हैव टू फाइट विद द आइडिया, तब हमसे क्वेश्चन पूछो अगर समझ में ना आए तो.
लास्ट क्वेश्चन. Sir, why Parliament appointed a new king? Why didn't they abolish the concept of king?
No. British people are the very conservative people. Kusum, even today, the British Parliament didn't dare, and not to speak of I am just myself is recalling, in my days, whenever I was myself the student in 1992 in the last one, and in interview board, there was a question to me myself by a board member. Why didn't British monarchy was abolished? And because there was the controversy about the Queen Diana at that time, about the Queen Diana, a lot of controversy. She fell in love with his own military captain that was associated with his security. But later she felt neglected from her husband, and then she fell in love with this captain, and finally the paparazzi means this journalist, they just chased him to take some photograph, and she you can say speeded up her car, and finally she met a crash and crashed to death. तो उसमें बहुत सारा कंट्रोवर्सी हुआ था, लेकिन उस समय भी यही बात हुई थी कि अब मोनार्की को समाप्त कर दिया जाए ब्रिटेन से. ब्रिटिश पीपल इतने कंजर्वेटिव होते हैं कि इतने रेडिकल डिसीजन लेना पसंद नहीं करते हैं. दैट्स व्हाई, यू नो. Ankur, should I move further now?
Yes.
अब वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री, इनलाइटनमेंट टू इनकरेज कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ रिएक्शन ऑफ मर्केंटिलिज्म, अमेरिकन रेवोल्यूशन। अब देखो, टू इनकरेज इनलाइटनमेंट, टू इनकरेज द स्पिरिट ऑफ फ्रीडम, कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव गवर्नमेंट, इनलाइटनमेंट, रिजेक्शन ऑफ मर्केंटिलिज्म, एंड देन फाइनली अमेरिकन रेवोल्यूशन हैड टू टेक प्लेस। ये इनलाइटनमेंट का कॉन्सिक्वेंट रिजल्ट है। टू इनकरेज द स्पिरिट ऑफ फ्रीडम, concept of representative government, enlightenment, and rejection of mercantilism. Free trade, are you recalling Adam Smith? Free trade and rejection of mercantilism. What did Adam Smith believe? Do you understand Adam Smith? Are you recalling? No, because mercantilism tried to establish that there is a limited volume of international trade, and in international trade the profit of one country depends upon the deficit of the other. Both the contenders in the trade can never get profit simultaneously at the same time. So one country will make profit, another had to face deficit. Adam Smith rejected this idea. He told no, if this could have been the case, then those countries which are facing the condition of deficit continuously, they would prefer to opt out from the trade. And if some countries just opted out from international trade, so no one going to be benefited finally. It was, you can say, a double-edged sword, because it was going to injure both the parties simultaneously. One party will opt out from the trade, another party will equally affected. So in international trade, all contenders are getting profit, provided they follow the free trade policy or the policy of laissez-faire. ये एडम स्मिथ का था, तो उसने मर्केंटिलिज्म को रिजेक्ट कर दिया, यू आर किलर, एंड देन अमेरिकन रेवोल्यूशन फाइनली। बैकग्राउंड, द अमेरिकन रेवोल्यूशन स्टैंड्स एज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट सिग्निफिकेंट लैंडमार्क्स इन द हिस्ट्री ऑफ द मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड. इट बिकेम a symbol of the world's first anti-colonial movement. Apart from that, it assumed some other dimensions as well. देखो, अमेरिकन रेवोल्यूशन में a very interesting thing. This revolution occurred in 1776. I have to just inform you. But one important and one interesting thing is that it was not simply a liberation movement. And it's not simply a revolution. It was a liberation movement as well. So question arises कि whether it may be. अब जैसे तो अमेरिकन रेवोल्यूशन में, आगे मैं थोड़ा पढ़ दूं फिर आपको बता देता हूँ. In one sense, the American Revolution was an extension of the European question, as the American middle class revolted against the mercantilist policy that had continuously been criticized by the European middle class. It was not merely a coincidence that in the year 1776, this occurred. The magnum opus of Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations, was published, and in the same year, American Revolution occurred. Furthermore, this revolution provided the new constitutional model and gave provisions of fundamental rights and federal system. Finally, this revolution resulted into transforming American colonies in economic and political superpower, which played a decisive role in world history. This page may be a bit confusing for you, so let me clarify the statement first. एवरीथिंग इज क्रिस्टल क्लियर. मतलब मैंने सारे जब स्टडी मटेरियल इतना, आप लोग, नो वन विल आस्क मी कि व्हिच बुक हैव टू कंसल्ट, नो वन विल आस्क मी कि हाउ टू मेक द नोट्स. दिस इज द वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री, दैट इज द कंप्लीट नोट. सिंपली फॉलो मी इन द क्लास एंड ट्राई टू डाइजेस्ट एंड try to be a thinking creature through this what I have just given to you. That is food for thought. That's all, nothing. मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री में तो प्रीलिम्स में भी था, इसमें प्रीलिम्स नहीं है, तो आप लोग बिल्कुल बेफिक्र होके काम करो. American Revolution. Okay. Whether a war of independence whether a revolution is just a minute. Whether a liberation movement whether a revolution whether whether extension of European question. My students, whenever you have to just evaluate, or you can say basically examine the term American Revolution. So here I have to make you clear. Was it simply a liberation movement or a revolution as well? Because there is slight difference between a liberation movement and a revolution. In liberation movement means ki some colony or some country which is already occupied or subjugated by some other country. So after a long trial or a fighting or a long effort or short effort, whatever may be, it get liberation. So that is a liberation movement. The question arises ki whether we can characterize American Revolution a liberation movement or not. So my students, I'm posing this question to you, and let this class be communicative. You people will respond my question quickly. क्या हम इसे एक स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन या मुक्ति आंदोलन माने या नहीं? Should you take it as a liberation movement or not? Mr. Ankur, ask my students. Be fast. Yes, okay, good. Yes. Second one question, be careful. Should we take the Indian independence on 15th August 1947 a revolution or simply a liberation? A revolution or simply a liberation? On 15th August 1947, the independence of India, it should be characterized, and should it be characterized as a revolution or simply or merely a liberation? Mr. Ankur, what might the response?
Maximum.
Okay. Yes, you people are correct, because we got independence after a long trial of at least 5 decades. American people made a quick recovery. That is the one basis. But my students, you are going through humanities. In humanities, you are my students. I have always trained you. I have always trained you in humanities mode of thinking. Humanities having a different mode of thinking. For example, you people are from English medium, and at least some of you may have in contact with English, may have in contact with the Hindu newspaper, The Hindu. Some of you can expect. On the day of Friday, you find there in Hindu, there is the in central page, there is the one article, one editorial article, you know, one editorial that is in favor, against, and between. So this is the beauty of humanities. You can sometime accept it, sometime reject it. समझ रहे हो? अब here I am just मैं एक बहुत अच्छा आपको स्टोरी बताता हूँ, आप इसको सुनो. दैट इज इंस्पायरिंग भी, लेकिन मुझे हिंदी में बोलना पड़ेगा क्योंकि वो घटना ही कुछ ऐसी है, कुछ इंसिडेंट, और आप लोग तो हिंदी समझ लेते हो. मोतीलाल नेहरू, he was a very successful lawyer, you know. He was doing the rowing practice, and he was moving from one high court to other high court, and he was too much busy. At that time, there was no system of the mobile communication, you know. So it was very difficult for him, and he was busy. Sometime he was just coming from the one court and he had to appear in another court. So it was in the mid course, whenever he was just moving into the courtroom. So his assistant is briefing his the case. मतलब जब वो एक हाई कोर्ट से दूसरे हाई कोर्ट में जाते रहते थे, तो अब जैसे इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट में कभी उनका अपीयरेंस हुआ और कहीं कलकत्ता हाई कोर्ट से आ रहे हैं, तो जल्दबाजी में ट्रेन पकड़ के आ रहे हैं, उसमें तो फ्लाइट का भी सिस्टम नहीं था, तो ट्रेन पकड़ के आ रहे और यहाँ आए और वहाँ ब्रीफ करते हुए तुरंत असिस्टेंट गया उनको कोर्ट रूम तक और बताया कि सर ऐसे हुआ ऐसे हुआ. तो वैसे ही एक केस वो इलाहाबाद में ट्रायल कर रहे थे, और जो डॉक में खड़ा था उसको इनको बचाना था. वो बेसिकली ही हैज टू वर्क एज नॉट अ डिफेंडर, उनको डिफेंडर लॉयर की तरह काम करना था, और उसने एक विटनेस लॉयर की तरह उनको एक्चुअली जो असिस्टेंट समझाया उस समझ थोड़ा उनको दिमाग में पता नहीं मिस हो गया, उनको लगा कि शायद हमको उसको बेसिकली कन्विक्ट करना है. उन्होंने जज को संबोधित करते हुए कहा मी लॉर्ड, उसके अगेंस्ट में उन्होंने पॉइंट्स को निकालने शुरू किए कि मी लॉर्ड, point number 1, he is supposed to be a culprit on this basis, he can be convicted on that basis, and he started to count the point 1 and 1 to 7 to 8 points against him. And he was actually basically this client was actually his eyes and his sound was choked because he was shocked. We have paid up so you can say so much money to him and he is just convicting me. तो वो तो बेचारा बहुत डरा हुआ था, तो वो अपने इनके असिस्टेंट की तरफ देखा. इनका असिस्टेंट गया, बोला कि सर ये क्या कर रहे हैं, इनको बचाना है. कहा अच्छा बचाना है तो पहले क्यों नहीं बताया? अच्छा कोई बात नहीं. फिर वो 1 मिनट रुके और तुरंत अपने फेस को उठाया और मुस्कुराते हुए जज की तरफ देखा और कहा मी लॉर्ड, मेरे काबिल दोस्त यही कहेंगे जो मैंने अभी कहा था. मैंने काबिल दोस्त का उनका इशारा था उस लॉयर की तरफ जो अपोजिट पार्टी का लॉयर था. मतलब वो उन्होंने ये शो किया कि अब तक मैं इनका काम कर रहा था, और फिर बताया अब मेरा तर्क, मेरा आर्गुमेंट सुना जाए. और उन्होंने आर्गुमेंट 1 को खुद से काटा, आर्गुमेंट 2 को दूसरे से काटा, आर्गुमेंट 3 को तीसरे से काटा, और इस तरह से 1 बाय करके सारे आर्गुमेंट को काट दिया. और तब जो अपोजिट पार्टी का लॉयर है, ही वॉज सरप्राइज कि अब मेरे लिए इन्होंने कोई काम छोड़ा ही नहीं. माय स्टूडेंट्स, दिस इज ह्यूमैनिटी, दिस इज द नेचर ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटी. मैं आप लोगों को इस तरह से ट्रेन करना चाहता हूं, कुछ भी फुल एंड फाइनल नहीं होता है. तुम अगर कहोगे कि इंडियन इंडिपेंडेंस 15 अगस्त 1947 वाज इट अ लिबरेशन मूवमेंट और रेवोल्यूशन एज वेल, आई विल फेवर रेवोल्यूशन एज वेल. तुमने कहा नहीं लिबरेशन था, हम वहां भी एग्री कर रहे, वहां भी हम आर्गुमेंट दे सकते. अगर कहोगे भाई नहीं रेवोल्यूशन है, व्हाई नॉट रेवोल्यूशनरी? After the liberation of India on 15th August, you know, I have told, the third democratic revolution in the world, in modern history. Are you recording the point? Third democratic revolution. And it started, the liberation of India inspired the liberation movement all over the world. And after the liberation of India, the Indian constitution was framed. And India became the largest democracy in the world. It became the first country in the third world to adopt the universal adult suffrage. इज इट नॉट गोइंग टू प्रूव दैट इट वॉज रेवोल्यूशनरी रिजल्ट? माय स्टूडेंट्स, मैंने जो आर्गुमेंट दिया वो आर्गुमेंट में दम है कि नहीं? यस और नो? प्लीज show your response, because I am just visualizing you people are sitting. Okay, are you recalling third democratic revolution I have taught you? मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री को भी अच्छे से रिवाइज करना, इन सभी को प्रिजर्व करके रखना है, because I am expecting a lot from you people. You people have to give us the result. I am just looking up to the last. You will just go and qualify the examination. Once you become thinking creature, you can do anything. तो एक तो ये फैक्टर हुआ. The next one you find कि whether a revolution, yes. What is difference between a liberation movement and a revolution? Normally, a revolution is having the two criteria, but I am leaving one criteria, one major criteria कि whatever changes had to take place, so changes should be the radical change. Radical change मतलब fundamental change. My students, it is true in American Revolution will not underline the extent of the change which you will witness in course of the French Revolution, which I will discuss with you later, or I will teach you later. But still you can see in American Revolution a number of changes had taken place which were radical in nature. For example, after American Revolution, there emerged to be the first independent colony in the world. Secondly, it framed the first written constitution in the world, American Constitution. Third one, there was the experiment of the first federation in the world. First federation. Federal system was not experimented. Federal system was experimented for the first time in course of the American Revolution. Fourth one, it became the first modern republic in the world. Republic, what is the specialty? The elected king. Not monarchy, elected king. Elected representative, not king. Elected representative. So this was the case of the first modern republic. USA became the first country to accept right to conscience, अभिव्यक्ति की स्वतंत्रता, as the fundamental rights in the world. In one sense, अब देखो कहोगे ब्रिटिश ने भी जो फंडामेंटल राइट्स दिए थे, ब्रिटेन के फंडामेंटल राइट्स को जानते हो? पार्लियामेंट ब्रिटेन का एक सिंपल मेजोरिटी से उसके फंडामेंटल राइट्स को रिमूव कर देगी, उसको चेंज कर देगी. ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट ऑल पावरफुल है. ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट इतना पावरफुल है, उसके बारे में कहा जाता है वो सब कुछ कर सकता है सिवा पुरुष को महिला और महिला को पुरुष बनाने की. British Parliament can do anything except making a male a female and vice versa. तो what about the British Constitution? लेकिन अमेरिका में तो फंडामेंटल राइट्स है, that is inviolable. No one can infringe the fundamental rights, and the Supreme Court works as the custodian of fundamental rights in USA. तो वहां तो बहुत बड़ी चीज है. अब with the extension of European question, yes, in what way? So in American Constitution you will find that basically in Europe there was the conflict between the middle class and monarchy. तो जो यूरोप में मिडिल क्लास और मोनार्की का जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हो रहा है माय स्टूडेंट्स, ये कॉन्फ्लिक्ट अमेरिकन कॉन्टिनेंट में एक्सटेंड किया है. कहोगे कैसे? आई विल गिव यू द एग्जांपल. In USA, you find that when the liberation movement started, later today you will go through this topic. I'll request you here. The two topics have been included in this in your study material: American Revolution and American Civil War. We will go through American Revolution today up to tomorrow, I expect. So there you will just come to know that here, in case of the American Revolution, you will just come to realize that there was the conflict between the middle class and the monarchy. middle class and the monarchy, you can say. And in what way? In American War of Independence or American Revolution, the aristocratic class remained to be loyal to the British king. When the American people organized a revolt against the Britain or British government, so aristocratic class in USA that preferred to be loyal to the British king. It was the American middle class which organized a revolt against the British. So in one sense, my friends, what you know as the American Revolution, it symbolized a conflict between the American middle class and British monarchy. So it was the extension of the conflict between monarchy and middle class, which at that time persisted in contemporary Europe. ये एक तरह से राजतंत्र और मध्य वर्ग के बीच जो यूरोप में कन्फ्लिक्ट चल रहा था, उसी का एक्सटेंशन था अमेरिका में, क्योंकि अमेरिकन पीपल कोई एरिस्टोक्रेटिक क्लास के कोई लोग इस वॉर में नहीं आए. मैं आपको बताऊंगा 80,000 एरिस्टोक्रेट्स दे जस्ट escaped from America after liberation and they preferred to move to Canada and they stayed in Canada. They were settled in Canada. They left America. उनके अपने जो राइट्स और प्रिविलेजेस थे वो थ्रेटेंड लगे. मिडिल क्लास का था. सेकेंड वन यू फाइंड कि एडम स्मिथ क्रिटिसाइज mercantilist policy in his text Wealth of Nations. Wealth of Nations, I have just mentioned, you people are well aware. So that was the Wealth of Nations that was written in Wealth of Nations in 1776. Here you will be informed that it was not merely a coincidence. This Wealth of Nations was published in the year 1776 and on same fateful year American War of Independence occurred. It means that the American question was the extension of European question. Are you clear? And could ask my students, now be fast. My students, inform me in what way it was the extension of European question. Are you clear? Conflict between middle class and monarchy and criticism of mercantilist policy. And criticism of mercantilist policy was obviously, you can say, a middle class ideology at that time. तो ये दोनों यूरोपियन क्वेश्चन का विस्तार है.
पूछ रहे हैं कि अमेरिकन वॉर ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस.
यस, हाँ, क्या अमेरिकन वॉर ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस में अमेरिकी स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन, जैसे ये दोनों है, बोथ आर टू इन वन. इन द लास्ट American Revolution was the American War of Independence and American Revolution both simultaneously, two in one.
Break करें कि not all Americans involved in war, but why, sir?
Because they are not interested. I'll discuss with you. Who has asked this question? Manpreet, you have to wait and go through my study material today. Tomorrow you will be answered. I have clearly mentioned about the class interest. The interest of the some class was linked to this revolution, but the interest of the some other class didn't confer on the same point. Didn't, you can say, merge on the same point. So that's why you can say if some of the some classes remained aloof from this revolution. Up structure of North America. Here I have to make you clear. My students, actually I am making you clear because observe the map of Northern America. This is the Northern America. Of sometime I am using the term American Revolution because actually I am living among the students, you know. So I am learning a lot from students on this regard. Ki whenever I am asking them the question and in what way they are responding. So then I am just coming to measure कि what information they should be given. मतलब कई बार क्या होता, पहले मैं अमेरिकन रेवोल्यूशन बोलता तो स्टूडेंट्स को लगता कि ये पूरा का पूरा अमेरिका का रेवोल्यूशन तो नहीं है. तो दैट्स वाई मैंने अब यहाँ से ही शुरू किया है कि देखिए, जब हम अमेरिकन रेवोल्यूशन की बात करते हैं तो पहले आप समझ लें कि अमेरिकन नॉर्दर्न अमेरिका में कई कंट्रीज, कई कॉलोनाइजर्स हैं. जैसे कनाडा है, वो कनाडा में फ्रेंच कॉलोनाइज कर लिया, कुछ पार्ट को हॉलैंड ने कॉलोनाइज किया, और मैक्सिको है, उस मैक्सिको को बेसिकली स्पेन ने कॉलोनाइज किया. तो जो ब्रिटेन है, ब्रिटेन ने इसके माने नॉर्दर्न अमेरिका की ईस्टर्न पार्ट में, नॉर्थ से लेकर साउथ तक उसने 13 सेटलमेंट्स बनाए, 13 सेटलमेंट्स. दैट इज ब्रिटिश अमेरिकन कॉलोनीज. 13 settlements were established by Britain. The first settlement was established there 1602 at the time of John Adams. And then you can say that the settlement continued, and there the total 13 settlements. Even the name is there. If you people are interested, you should not try to memorize the name. Please neglect them. Simply New Hampshire, New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware. So they are the 13 states. One, you can say interesting thing I am telling you, when the British conquered India, the British started to rule India in a combined way. That is in one sense beneficial for us, because you can easily emerge to be a nation, unified nation, you know. Apart from the tragedy which happened in case of Pakistan, leave it. But at least a major part of India was unified by the British, and it was, in one sense, we have taken it from the British as a legacy. But in case of America, the matter of surprise is that there are the 13 independent colonies. And independent means 13 colonies, total 13 colonies, and every colony was not having any connectivity with each other. Direct connectivity. In every settlement, every colony, there were the 13 colonies, not one colony, 13 colonies. And in every colony there was the post of a governor, which was directly appointed by Britain, and there was a local assembly. At least you can say in comparison to Britain, the American people were given more autonomy in one sense, because they can enjoy the support of an assembly, local assembly, and the governor had to work in association with the support of, or you can say with the support of local assembly. तो हर जो कॉलोनी है उसमें एक गवर्नर का पोस्ट है, उसको एक लोकल असेंबली. सो इन दिस वे यू कैन से कि 13 कॉलोनीज हुई. अब इनका सोशल कॉम्पोजिशन क्या है? तो देखो, सोशल कॉम्पोजिशन मतलब ये सोसाइटी है, उस सोसाइटी के सबसे हेड पर एरिस्टोक्रेट्स, एंड जेंट्री है. जेंट्री को हिंदी में बोलते हैं भद्रजन. माने वन एरिस्टोक्रेट्स वेर द बाय बॉर्न एरिस्टोक्रेट्स, एंड जेंट्री वेर कि दे वेर नॉट बाय बॉर्न बट थ्रू रिचनेस एंड थ्रू परचेजिंग द स्टेटस, they could also come into the category of aristocrats, so they were known as gentry. तो एक तो एरिस्टोक्रेट्स हुआ, दूसरा जेंट्री हुआ जो हाईएस्ट पर है, और यही है एरिस्टोक्रेट्स एंड जेंट्री. उनके नीचे है मिडिल क्लास. अब मिडिल क्लास कोई एक नॉट ए कोहेसिव क्लास, यू नो. हियर यू कैन से merchants, smugglers. They were doing smuggling and carrying smuggling works in Atlantic Ocean. That is much profitable for them. What is temperature, Mr. Ankur? So please increase one more. Merchants, smugglers, intellectuals, students, politicians, all form the category of the middle class. Then beneath middle class there was the lower class. Lower class, that is peasants, and after peasants, you know, that is called mechanics. Mechanics का मतलब होता है मिस्त्री. That was called मिस्त्री. Then beneath them there was slaves. I mean, slaves in two categories you can say, not three categories. White slaves. Even some slaves were white. White means they were from European origin. So why did they become slaves? Due to the economic region. They were so much impoverished that they were heavily indebted and they fell in category of slaves. मतलब कुछ ऐसे श्वेत, कुछ ऐसे यूरोपियन स्लेव्स भी थे जिनका इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन खराब हो गया था, जिन्होंने अपने आप को वर्चुअली बेच लिया था इंसॉल्वेंसी के कारण. तो वैसे स्लेव्स व्हाइट स्लेव्स थे. उसके अलावा अफ्रीकन स्लेव्स, बिकॉज इन अमेरिकन कॉन्टिनेंट देयर वाज द प्लांटेशन एग्रीकल्चर. So for doing the plantation work, because the you can say America was sparsely populated, so it was not having, and there the labor could not be mobilized on a massive scale. So in order to fulfill the need of the labor in plantation agriculture, some slaves were imported from African continent. So they were called African slaves. And apart from African slaves, you will come to know American slaves. हम अमेरिकन का मतलब है कि जो अमेरिकन का लोकल पीपल है, दे वर कॉल्ड रेड इंडियंस. अब हियर द मैटर ऑफ सरप्राइज दैट कि उनको इंडियंस क्यों कहा गया. तो मैंने आपको बताया था कि कोलंबस ने जो डिस्कवर किया था पहले लैटिन अमेरिका को, तो मैंने ही डाइड अंडर द इंप्रेशन दैट कि ही सर्च द ईस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया. मैंने उसको लगा कि हम इंडिया के ईस्टर्न छोर पर पहुंच चुके हैं, ईस्टर्न पार्ट पर पहुंच चुके हैं. So it was named on India. They started to call the people Red Indians because they were darker than Indians, so they were called Red Indians. तो some critics बहुत अच्छा क्विप किया है, कहीं आपको काम आ जाए. एक तरह से सेटलर्स इन अमेरिका इलेटिमाइज का मतलब है कि वहां के जो इनहेबिटेंट्स थे, ओरिजिनल जो नेटिव्स थे, जिनको रेड इंडियंस कहा, कि उनको इलेटिमाइज कर दिया, उनको अवैध बना दिया. अपने ही मुल्क में उनको इंडियंस का नाम दे दिया. मैंने क्रिटिक्स बोलते हैं. एक बहुत अच्छा सम महबूबानी करके एक ऑथर है, बहुत अच्छा स्कॉलर है. उस सेटलर्स एंड द नेटिव्स करके एक बुक लिखी, बहुत मार्वेलस बुक थी. तो उसमें उसने इस टर्म का यूज किया है, सेटलर्स एंड द नेटिव्स में, कि इन देयर ओन होमलैंड देयर पोजिशन वर इलेटिमाइज्ड, दे वर कॉल्ड इंडियंस. So my students, this is the population configuration of America. What was the social composition? Whether it was a war of independence or a revolution, I have discussed this aspect. It was simultaneously a war of independence and the revolution as well. Because after this American Revolution, a lot of changes were pursued. So in this way, it was a war of independence and revolution both at the same time. Why is American Revolution was characterized as a middle class revolution? अब interesting thing I am telling you. Actually, my students, middle class revolution. Actually, in order to get any revolution characterized as the middle class revolution, it was supposed to fulfill two criteria. One, leadership should be into the hand of the middle class. The leadership should be into the hand of the middle class. देखो, participation, there should be the participation of all the classes, no problem, even the lower class. But the question arises कि leadership should be held into the hand of the leadership should be led by the middle class. So that is one criteria. Second one criteria is कि changes brought in course of the revolution should conform to the interest of मिडिल क्लास इंटरेस्ट, मतलब जो चेंजेज हो रहा है, एक तो लीडरशिप मिडिल क्लास के हाथ में चाहिए, और जो चेंजेस रेवोल्यूशन के दरमियान हुआ वो मिडिल क्लास के इंटरेस्ट में होना चाहिए। ये दो क्राइटेरिया फुलफिल हो, देन यू कैन कैरेक्टराइज इट एज द रेवोल्यूशन। अब अंकुर आस्क माय स्टूडेंट्स, प्लीज आस्क माय स्टूडेंट्स वन थिंग, माय स्टूडेंट्स यू हैव टू मेक ए रेस्पॉन्स, व्हाट विल यू प्रेफर? अब इंडियन लिबरेशन मूवमेंट, इंडियन नेशनल मूवमेंट, तो विल यू प्रेफर टू कैरेक्टराइज इंडियन नेशनल मूवमेंट और a middle class movement or not? Indian national movement and the liberation movement of India, are you going to characterize it as a middle class movement or not? Please make a response, yes or no. yes, why? अब देखो एक बात बताइए, आई एम गिविंग द कंक्रीट एग्जांपल। आर यू फैमिलियर विथ इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन? हमारा जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बना, हम यूनिवर्सल एडल्ट सफरेज को अडॉप्ट किया, ठीक है, ये क्यों किया ये मैं आपको आगे बताऊंगा। इस समय तक कि मिडिल क्लास ने यूनिवर्सल एडल्ट सफरेज के साथ कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर लिया था, लेकिन अब देखो ना, फंडामेंटल राइट्स है, डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स को तो जस्टिफिएबल नहीं बनाया गया, इकोनॉमिक रिडिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नहीं हुआ। अगर ये लोअर क्लास मूवमेंट होता तो हमारे यहाँ सबसे पहले लैंड रिफॉर्म्स होता, इकोनॉमिक रिडिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होता, वो सब कुछ नहीं हुआ। हमारे यहाँ आप देखोगे हमारा जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है वो मिडिल क्लास के इंटरेस्ट को कैटर करता है, वो लोअर क्लास के इंटरेस्ट को नहीं। अभी भी आप देखते हो राइट टू वर्क नहीं है, राइट टू फूड नहीं है, ये सब फंडामेंटल राइट्स नहीं है। क्या है? राइट टू फ्रीडम, राइट टू इक्वलिटी, राइट टू लिबर्टी। तो लिबर्टी है, लिबर्टी से ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट तो राइट टू फूड है, उससे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट तो लोअर क्लास के लिए राइट टू वर्क है। तो ऑब्वियसली यू कैन से इवन आवर नेशनल मूवमेंट वाज द मिडिल क्लास इन नेचर, द लिबरेशन मूवमेंट वाज द मिडिल क्लास इन नेचर। तो मैं जानबूझ के आपसे कुछ इस तरह के, आई एम जस्ट पोजिंग द क्वेश्चन, then you will be mentally alert and you will make a response to me. But be a thinking creature, just try to follow food for thought and go through the study material today at your home. And American Revolution, simply American Revolution, American Constitution. Not, you have to not move to American Civil War today. That assignment I will give you tomorrow. So my students, I'll see you tomorrow. I am stopping here. Almost my time is over. I'll see you. Nice meeting. Thank you very much.